Passionate, fierce.
Superwoman.
Almost like a hero. That's why Hitler chose her to be the director of his propaganda film.
Natural talent. A documentary about the life and work of Leni Riefenstahl, a German film director most notorious for making the most effective propaganda films for the Nazis. My name is Gary Genchev. Recently, I heard about a very interesting Nazi film director whose works have been influencing the whole film industry ever since. This is why I decided to explore the controversial personality of Leni Riefenstahl and Ray Mueller's documentary The Wonderful, Horrible Life of Leni Riefenstahl. Berlin is the hometown of many talented people, but Leni Riefenstahl is certainly the one who stands out for anyone who is somehow connected to the art called film. She was a talented dancer, actress, screenwriter, producer, and editor. Leni will be, however, most of all remembered as one of the most controversial film directors of all times. While for some she is a creative and successful perfectionist who is absolutely dedicated to her job and her artistic visions, for others, she remains the top Nazi propagandist whose works were only meant to hide the dark ideas of the evil Führer. Leni herself denies that she was acquainted with Hitler's anti-Semitic policies. What she saw of him was a modest private individual who gave her the opportunity to create real art. Although, after the end of the regime, Leni was not accused of anything, she was widely condemned as Nazi and was never again given the chance to reveal her talent behind the camera. One thing is certain though, her innovative movie techniques literally transformed the film industry. She was the first to use underwater cameras, the first to attach a camera to a balloon, and the first woman filmmaker to coordinate a crew of hundreds of people and then think about every single detail by herself.
Einen Luftballon mit einer winzig kleinen 5-Meter-Kamera losgelassen, um eine Totale aus der Luft zu kriegen. Und was passiert ist, jeden Tag ist der Ballon woanders gelandet, auf Dächern und so, aber keine Aufnahme war verwendbar, alles hat gewackelt.
Anyone finding this camera would discover a little note in it, asking them to return it to the Leni Riefenstahl production team.
This was productive, but now let's hear what the professionals have to say. A Nazi or not, she deserves the respect of the professionals in the field. This is probably one of the reasons why Ray Mueller agreed to make a 3-hour-long documentary about her professional and personal life. This documentary indeed reveals some hidden truths about Leni's mysterious life.
This film really leaves me ambivalent. On one side, you see her passion, and she's good because of her passion or her determination. But then you see her implication and sort of like her ignorance. I think she was very happy to be in the limelight, and also this fed her ignorance. I like the documentary. Oh, it's not really my type of documentary, but I learned a lot in the terms of who she was, and the use of archival footage is like amazing. Like truly amazing. I liked that the director of the documentary took her to the places that they shot the films, the documentaries that she did for Hitler.
In 1936, Leni Riefenstahl made the official film of the Olympic Games in Berlin.
This was sort of personal, but then you're interviewing this controversial person, and you're going into the film without preconceived notions of who she is, what she did, because she's very controversial, so you leave it to the audience, but you get like this feeling that's like really interesting, but in a way you feel guilty that you watch it because of her involvement with the Nazi party, like with Hitler. She says that she didn't join the party, she didn't organize any of the Triumph of the Wheel. It was a parade in Nuremberg, Germany, and the director asks her if she organized it, and she said no. And sometimes you get the feeling that she's lying. Yeah, it's fascinating, but sometimes you feel guilty. The director oftentimes insists on questions that he sees that irritates her. He knows that it's crucial for the viewer to know the answer to this question. It's interesting to see the director sort of pushes her to the edge, but not really. She gets by herself very irritated, very frustrated.
Ich bin so aufgeregt, was Sie da gesagt haben, das ist ja unglaublich. Ich kann es Ihnen zeigen. Ich habe gesellschaftlich, aus den Tagebüchern steht drin, das steht doch überhaupt nicht drin, das ist doch nicht wahr, Herr Müller.
So, I think the director did a pretty good job to tell us who Leni is.
In fact, the director of the movie acknowledges that the biggest challenge he faced while they were shooting the movie was exactly the arguments with Leni. In an email responding to questions that we personally asked him, he says the following.
She was the most dominating woman I ever met, and she was used to have it her way. So when she found out that I was not going to be intimidated or manipulated, she got furious. When she freaked out and started to shout, we stopped, and after 2 hours, when she had slightly calmed down, I exactly asked the same question again. It must have been quite surprising to her that, although she used all of her considerable skills, she couldn't influence me.
Nein, da muss ich Ihnen mal erklären, dass der erste Film nicht ein Parteitagfilm, sondern nur, dass das nur Aufnahmen waren, die ich dann zusammensetzen musste, weil Hitler das wollte, komme ich auf Hitler rauf und gar nichts mit der Technik mehr zu tun hatte. Die richtige Technik, da können Sie nur vom Triumph des Willens sprechen.
Also im ersten Film war gar keine Technik in dem Sinne?
Nein, haben wir doch gar keine vorbereitet. War ja nicht, ich bin ja erst hingekommen, als der Parteitag schon da war. Da muss ich Ihnen noch erklären, warum. Da muss ich Ihnen sagen, lieber Herr Müller, ich konnte nichts machen, weil die Partei es verboten hat und mir es nicht mitgeteilt hat, wer Hitler einen großen Krach mit dem Goebbels hatte.
What's even more interesting is the fact that Leni herself tries to direct Müller's own documentary.
Ich habe nie, solange ich lebe, im Gehen gesprochen. Ich bin doch kein Geist. Ja, aber ich sage nur, ich kann im Gehen nicht sprechen. Ich träume oder auch wenn ich träume, liege ich oder sitze ich, aber im Gehen kann ich nicht sprechen. Aber es hat mir doch keiner gesagt, das heißt, ich soll im Gehen und soll dabei.
The director left these scenes on purpose, because they reveal her real character very well, without the need of any words.
Ja, aber dann würden Sie können.
Although Leni and Müller went through many problems, it was all worth it, as in the end we have the opportunity to enjoy a real documentary. No staging, no hiding, no lies. No matter whether it's because the movie put her in the light of public attention or because she truly believed it, Leni Riefenstahl also appreciated the film. In a postcard to Müller, she said,
To Ray Müller, who tortured me so much, but who made a good film in the end.
After everything I've heard, read and watched about Leni, I certainly have an opinion about her. Yes, I do admire her work and believe that she is an inspirational woman. However, there are some things that I still don't understand. This is why I would like to share Müller's personal opinion about her. She was the most talented filmmaker, but I think her biggest talent was in editing.
I often said that she was not a woman, but a general in disguise of a beautiful woman. She was mostly giving orders to everybody, although she certainly had a charming side as well. She would have been an icon of women's liberation had she not had this political shadow which ruined her life. She was directing and producing at the age of 29 in a field totally dominated by men. Later, during the Nazi regime, where women didn't have anything to say at all, she was the most prominent figure. Unfortunately, she was totally obsessed by her art and closed her eyes at what was happening around her. That was her big mistake. There are times when other things are more important than art, and she never understood that an artist is responsible for his work and the effect this work has on other people. This she could never understand.